Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. We have been awoken by Wolfie and a spider, and now I can't get out. There we go, Wolfie. All right, let's do this. He's pushing me out. Take it easy. Take it easy. There might be a spider. Yep, there is. He's a friendly spider, I hope. Oh, I almost took a tumble. All right, anyway, we're back. Far Lands or Bust. I'm back from easy. Take it easy, Mr. Good. Mr. Good? What? Where did that come from? I was going to say Mr. Guy, but it came out as Mr. Good. It's Good the Spider, everybody. Say hello, Good. Hello. Alright, you head off in your direction and I'll head off on mine. It's Good the Spider and B-double-O the Creeper. Alright, so, continuing on. What? Anyway... yeah, I'm back. Far Lands or Bust. I have returned from my trip to Florida for the NASASocial, for the SpaceX Falcon9 / Dragon capsule launch, NASASocial. Of course, as if you were following me, you may have heard, or you may have heard through other means, that we did not get a launch on the day that we were there, unfortunately, so I'm also walking in the wrong direction. There we go. Okay. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but let me just get some business out of the way. While I was gone, we went up to 27% of our Child's Play charity fundraiser over at farlandsorbust.com. $8,126 right now. We're nearing the $8,200 that was the goal for last season, so that's kind of cool. But we're gonna blow right by that, aren't we, guys? Aren't we? Indeed. So yeah, that happened while I was away. I also want to thank Christiana and Mark for their tip jar contributions, and everybody else's support and, I guess, attention and enthusiasm for all the tweets I was giving during the NASASocial. I was quite the chatterbug. Ooh, I need some wooden planks. Let's head over towards some trees. It's quite the chatterbug on Twitter, and like I said, Twitter was the best place to follow me during that. It's just the easiest thing to post really quick updates to, but I guess in this episode I will do kind of a little bit of a recap, and it might take more than this episode for me to get through everything. Oop. Because it was quite the whirlwind, and we've also had a lot of other things going on right now, lately. Just like yesterday, on Sunday, May 20th, we had a cool solar eclipse that I was once again very busy on Twitter tweeting about, and despite the fact that I had no anticipation of ever seeing a bit of it from here in Chicago, the clouds parted and I was able to see at least about 10 minutes of the first kind of little bite out of the cookie of the sun, so we'll talk about that a little bit, either in this episode or the next. People were excited that Far Lands or Bust got a little bit of a plug, a mention on Rooster Teeth, the Rooster Teeth podcast, specifically Rooster Teeth podcast number 166. Gavin, who is also well known from the Slow-Mo guys, mentioned Far Lands or Bust when those guys were talking about Minecraft, because Minecraft just came out on the Xbox. So that was really cool, and you know, I'm glad everybody was letting me know about that, and I guess for a lot of my new followers, it's hard for me to remember that when I did the first Far Lands or Bust live stream after we reached the first $8,200, I only had, like, how many subscribers did I have? Like 10, 15,000? Maybe 20,000, I can't quite remember, but yeah, I think it was less than 20,000 subscribers, so we've more than doubled that now, so half of you weren't around for the Far Lands or Bust marathon live stream, but Gavin was actually a guest via Skype during that live stream, and he stuck around for quite a long time. I'd say for like the last half of the live stream, which was surprising because he was in the UK at the time, so it was like, you know, early morning for him, but yes, Gavin is a fan of the show, so that's amazing. So yeah, I'll put a link in the video description to that podcast. They start talking about Minecraft, I think about 30 or 40 minutes in, but the whole thing is pretty cool, so I'd suggest listening to the whole thing. But yeah, a lot of stuff going on. See, I'm 5 minutes into this episode, and I'm already haven't even talked about the NASASocial yet. But yeah, the NASASocial. Since I'm on the topic, I guess I'll talk about it. Yeah, so I guess I want to talk about first is the launch abort. It wasn't, first of all, it wasn't a failure. The mission didn't fail. If anything, that is a successful demonstration of how the computer systems shut down a faulty rocket launch. And it was actually shut down a half second, 1/2 of 1 second prior to the liftoff time. So for those of you who don't know, in terms of rockets, in terms of the Falcon 9 rocket from SpaceX, same thing with the space shuttle and other rockets around the world, they're all controlled. The launches are all computer controlled. There's not actually somebody sitting there at the button ready to push a button or anything. It's all computer controlled for the main purpose that there's so many systems and so many things going on that no human could ever keep up with, or even no team of humans could ever keep up with the amount of data and information that comes in during a launch. And the computer, get out of here. The computer, was counting down. Everything was fine. I know in my last episode of Farlands or Bust, I was talking about all the situations where there would be a scrub, and all those things, talking about thunderstorms within 10 miles of the launch pad, lightning with, in the last 30 minutes would cancel the launch. Those were all like weather related. I didn't even touch on the mechanical things that could come up, and that just happened to be what happened. But yeah, a half a second before the launch, we were doing the countdown. I was there in the press site, 10, 9, 8, and then we have the loudspeakers as the guy that you guys were probably watching from on NASA TV was doing the countdown. And it was actually kind of interesting because it happened so late. The engines actually fired up at T-minus 3 or 2 seconds, but it happened so late that the announcer was actually, like 3, 2, 1, and there was a pause, and he started to go, lift off. Wait, we've had an abort. So it's it was really a last minute thing, but the computer sensed, one of the sensors said that there was excess pressure in the compression chamber of engine 5. And now the Falcon 9 rocket has 9 rockets, 9 liquid fuel rocket motors on the bottom. So that engine 5 is one of those 9. And there was a excess pressure in there. So the computer, it went beyond a threshold. The computer said, nope, shut it down, and, canceled the it didn't release the rocket from the pad. There's little, things that hold down the rocket so it can start up the engines 3 seconds before it's actually supposed to take off, and if everything is good, then it will release the rocket. Similar thing happened with the space shuttle, where the space shuttle main engines fire up 6 seconds before launch, giving the computer time to look over all the systems. Okay, everything's okay with the space shuttle engines. So, and then at T-minus 0 is when it lights the solid rocket boosters and then releases the explosive pins holding it to the launch pad. So very similar situations, very similar configurations of these type of rocket launches. And like I said, it's one of those things. I'm assuming, they haven't really said, but I'm assuming, especially for a launch that's experimental as this, that they have these thresholds, these thresholds, or these parameters for the launch set pretty strict, and that way, if anything is even 0.01% off, the computer scrubs it, just to be on the safe side. I mean, you'd rather violate a rule that's too strict than have it go by and then you launch and then there's a problem. So I'm just assuming that partly was what happened. A similar thing happened when they did the static fire 2 weeks ago, where they just did a test of the engines. There was an abort because one of the engine nozzles was out of configuration, by like, 0.5% or whatever it was, and they said, okay, that was an overly restrictive, setup, but we did that on purpose just to make sure. Now we can kind of ease up on the configuration so that if that's to happen again, it will actually be okay to go. And actually recently, today, or was it yesterday, Elon Musk, who's the head of SpaceX, founder of SpaceX, tweeted that through all their simulations, the launch would have probably gone completely fine last Saturday morning, even with that configuration. But it's better to have seen that and canceled the liftoff then and there so that they could take time to look at it and see what the problem was. Because you can't, once the rocket launches, you're committed. You can't go back and look at what might have gone wrong earlier, and you never know what could have happened. So I'm assuming, or let me go to sleep here. Woof, as the moon rises and the sun sets. And awakeness to Rocket Talk with KurtJMac. Yeah, so I'm assuming these the parameters they have for launch are a little bit strict at first, but it turns out there actually was a hardware problem. A check valve in that engine 5 failed to perform, and I haven't looked it up, but I'm assuming my understanding of what a check valve is, I did some web design work for a company that made check valves and certain sort of valves and hardware for industrial applications, not spacecraft applications, but a check valve basically is a mechanical valve that once the internal pressure of whatever hose or tank or whatever reaches a certain pressure, that valve opens to release some of that pressure at a specific pressure. I guess a very similar thing would be on, for those of you who own your own home, on your water heater has a check valve that if there were to be a problem and the pressure within your water heater would get too high, just based on the tension in the spring, it would release that pressure to bring the internal pressure of your water heater down to a more safe level, so your water heater doesn't explode. Similar concept. I think that's how a check valve works on a rocket in terms of the chamber pressure of a certain engine with the fuel and whatnot. So they had a failure with that, and like I said, Elon Musk said it probably would have been a-okay with all the simulations they did, but it's better to be very safe than sorry in that situation. So they replaced that check valve, everything's okay, and right now we're looking at another attempt at a launch tomorrow morning. That is Tuesday morning at 3:44 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, as opposed to the last Saturday's attempt was at 4:33 or something like that. Or was it 4:55? It was 4:55. So a very early morning launch. That equates to 2:44 a.m. Central Daylight Time and 12:44 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So you guys on the Pacific Coast can just stay up tonight, Monday night, to watch it past midnight. That also equates to 7:44 a.m. UTC GMT. So that's an early morning thing. So I would recommend, I'm crazy and I'm going to wake up. That's my rocket out there that I saw up close and personal, so I've got to watch the launch live. I'm going to get up at about 2:30 a.m. this morning and fire up the old computer and NASA TV. Wolfie, where have we gotten ourselves here? We're in some sort of situation. Here we go. Boop, boop, boop. Careful. So yeah, that's when the launch is rescheduled, and that's why I wanted to get this episode out, so I can let you guys know that that's when the launch is happening. You can head over to NASA TV. I'll put all the links in the video description where you can watch that live. I don't yet have all of my video and photos ready from my trip. I might, I'll be posting, I've been posting stuff real time on Twitter, but it was very hard for me to either get a good connection out at Kennedy Space Center, so I don't think I was tweeting as much media as I would have liked to, but I was trying to keep up. But yeah, where are we at here? I'm trying to think of how much I should talk about here. But yeah, anyway, yes, I was disappointed it didn't launch. We were sitting there, we watched the horizon light up from the rockets firing, the engines firing, but obviously it turned off really quick. So that obviously was a bummer. I'm still very lucky to have seen in August the Juno launch, which was an amazing rocket launch. That one's going to Jupiter, for crying out loud. But that's just the way things work. I've obviously had the similar luck with space shuttle launches, even though they were canceled long before I even got out to try to see them at the launch pad. But woo! Careful, Wolfie. I know you're gonna hurt yourself, but yep. Well done. Good job. Keep up the good work. Hey. Boop, and a boop, and how about one more? And a boop. Much better. All right, so yeah, that was a little bit disappointing, and I was planning on recording it, so I do have some footage. It's mainly just a black screen, and you kind of hear the voices in the background, and then I kind of do a little bit of commentary. I'll upload that if you guys want me to, but it's not, it's really just me talking, and I pan them around, and I can see the VAB and stuff like that, and then I'm just kind of sitting there looking at the dark sky, waiting for the launch, and then I'm like, no, oh well, nuts, but I'll upload that when I get a chance to edit that together, and then yeah, I was getting a lot of messages on Twitter that I should stay, and there are certainly some people staying from the NASASocial. NASA has invited us back, to try to catch the launch as it happens. So it's a lot easier for a lot of people who are in the NASASocial who obviously live in Florida, but I just couldn't justify staying there another, 3 nights? 1, 2, 3 nights, yeah. Ooh, a bridge. Oh god, no. Careful, Wolfie, just teleport to me, just teleport. Wolfie, crap. Yes. Oh god, that was probably the most dangerous thing I've done in Far Lands or Bust. I need a moment to catch my breath. Oh, that was not what I wanted to see. Hold on. I have to kind of go back and just check out the geography of that. That's really weird. That was a huge lava lake. All right, it's not there. Oh man, that would have been a disaster. Easy. Oh, okay. I thought it was over on that side as well, but I think that bridge does. Yeah, that bridge does kind of go over. That is a pretty big. It's a double lava lake. Alrighty then. Whew. We've had our fair share of scares there. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I couldn't justify staying there another 3 nights, let alone the cost. But knowing rocket launches, there's still, even though they fixed this particular issue, maybe they've slightly alleviated the strict computer restrictions on launch. So maybe they've done that since now they realize they've done simulations. Okay, the rocket would have been okay. Maybe they've alleviated some of the restrictions. The weather is still 80% go, just like it was last Saturday, but there's still a very decent chance that it might not launch this morning, or tomorrow morning, sorry. So I wouldn't, it's one of those things you have to kind of trade off the risk versus reward. Would I want to spend $600, $700, $800 more on keeping my rental car, getting a hotel, food, and stuff like that? Stay there and then only have it be scrubbed again. So that's just one of those things I decided I need to come back. And also, when I'm not here making videos, putting them on YouTube, I'm losing money. So not only would I be spending money, but I'm not making money. So and I did get a few offers from very gracious Farlanders to say, oh, I'll give it to the chip-in jar so you can stay a little bit longer. But I don't want that to be a thing. I don't want you guys to be doing that out of pity or whatever it would be. But I would rather, if you do have that spare money, instead of trying to get me to stay longer in Florida, you should head over to farlandsorbust.com and contribute to the Child's Play charity. Plug. Woof. So yeah, I'll be perfectly fine watching it from home. It was still an amazing experience that I think I'm going to have to continue talking about in the next episode. But yeah, the whole thing was a great time. I'll quickly summarize here, but I'll get into more depth next episode. We had on the first day, the 18th, it was kind of the main day, and they kind of remind everybody of that. This is the big deal. This is the NASASocial event, is the day before, where you're talking to people and meeting important people in NASA and SpaceX and taking the very behind the scenes tour of Kennedy Space Center. If the launch doesn't happen, don't be mad, because this is something very few people get to see on the first day of the NASA tweet up. So yeah, we met in a nice room. The Wi-Fi in there was a little bit spotty. It turned on and off every now and again, but a nice room. There was I think there was 48 of us, so we had a few people at the last minute unable to attend due to all the schedule shifting. People from California, somebody else was from Southern Illinois, I think. A lot of people from Florida. That's obviously easier for them to get there and stuff like that. But yeah, we talked to the president of SpaceX, who I'm forgetting her name right away, but she's kind of doing the media rounds that day, and she was the one on NASA TV after the scrub who was talking about what happened. Talked to some managers for the next, all the things that are happening at Kennedy Space Center to make room for these commercial partners and the commercial partner program, and then starting to set up for the heavy lift vehicle they're going to start to make to do the things beyond low Earth orbit, like asteroids, the moon and Mars, and things like that. There also was the International Space Station people were there that I got to ask a question to, and one of the it was cool. One of the NASA commentators was there. He's kind of a young guy, but and I'm it's one of those people. When I saw him, I recognized his voice from the NASA TV launches, but I got to ask him a question about what his background was in, and obviously he's not an astronaut or an engineer or a scientist, but he's working at NASA as this commentator, so to ask him a question, and all that is actually, that section of the NASA tweet up is up on YouTube on the NASA television channel, and you guys have done a fantastic job of spamming the comments on that video with, "Ooh, look, it's Kurt. Kurt asked a question at this time. Kurt. Lest I remind you that that's not my favorite thing in the world for you guys to do, but I certainly appreciate your enthusiasm for seeing me on NASA TV. I was indeed wearing my green Far Lands or Bust logo t-shirt. Wolfie, sit. Well, here, now you can see the sunset. But yeah, I'm going to have to continue that, and I will start to... that'll give me some time to get my pictures together. I did take a lot of panoramics and pictures, and also to get that video together. Oh, didn't I put a torch? Oh, I thought I put a torch in here. So yeah, in the next episode of Far Lands or Bust, I will show all you guys that. Maybe that'll come up tomorrow, just to keep the ball rolling. And yeah, that's the way that went. And then I'll obviously talk about the tour we took of Kennedy Space Center, which some of the stuff I saw before at the previous NASA tweet up, but obviously we got to see the Falcon 9 rocket up close. And then the most amazing thing is we got to see a real space shuttle Atlantis. Not just up close, but as in, like, inches. They had to warn us not to touch the thing. We were that close. We were directly underneath Space Shuttle Atlantis in the orbiter processing facility, which is something that very few members of the public ever get to do or will ever get to do, since Atlantis is going to end up going on public display at the visitor center there in Florida in summer of 2013, I believe. So I have those pictures. I have all that stuff to talk about in the next episode. But yeah, thank you for once again following along my little space adventure, and I certainly look forward to continuing to share my enthusiasm for space flight and astronomy and NASA and all that crazy awesome stuff. You can keep going to farlandsorbust.com to contribute to our Child's Play charity fundraiser. Like I said, we're at 27%. I've got to start thinking of what the heck to do for 30%. So maybe give me some suggestions in the comments below. Also, ask me questions. If I didn't get to answer any of you guys' questions during the NASASocial event and the Dragon thing and SpaceX or anything, ask me questions. I might have those answers just having talked to a bunch of people and keeping up with these things. But yeah, thanks again for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time.